Hey everybody, this is Brian Rice with Brian Rice Creative, and in this video I want to give you my thoughts on the DJI Ronin-SC and the Zhiyun Weebill-S. They're pretty much basically direct competitors in the small gimbal stabilizer market. And one thing I'm also going to try to do is just go through this in one take and not worry about getting a take perfect. In fact, I'm already kind of down the river on that because this is like my fourth or fifth take. Anyway, so if I feel like I'm rambling, I may edit this down. I may try to cut it down to make it easier, but I don't want to do take after take, and I may or may not have B-roll of these items here. But the long story short is, about 2 weeks ago, I acquired this DJI Ronin-SC for some video work, and I knew that I had some video work coming up that was going to require me to have a stabilizer, and instead of renting it, I decided that they were cheap enough that I might as well just bite the bullet and buy one. So I bought this used demo model online at Adorama for a really great price, and I got it, and it's been great. However, I film with a Nikon Z6. I do not own any Nikon S glass for mirrorless. I use everything via the FTZ Adapter, and my lens of choice for general photography and videography is this Tamron 2470 Generation 2 f2.8. And as you can see, it's quite a large setup. It's very front heavy, and quite frankly, I just couldn't get it to balance on the Ronin-SC. I understand that the small rig makes something of a counterweight adapter that you would be able to have it balanced out a little bit easier, and I may buy one of those and try it out, but we'll see. However, I discovered very shortly after ordering the DJI Ronin-SC that I believe it's pronounced Zhiyun, had their own competitor called the Weebill-S, which was brand new. It also came out around the same time, and this is it right here. And I decided that what I was going to do is go ahead and acquire this one as well, have a SMACKDOWN, and then decide which one I was going to keep and which one I'm going to send back. I feel pretty confident in my final decision. Spoiler alert, I am a strong lean toward keeping the Ronin-SC, and I'm going to explain why. Okay, so as you can see, I'm attempting to balance this particular camera and lens combination, and you can't really see it because I think the lighting is really dark behind me, so you may not be able to see it. I'm going to try to bring it better into the light, but this is the Tamron 2470 mounted to the Nikon Z6 via the FTZ adapter, and you can see just how tough it is to get this balanced. I could try to do something with this, and I'm gonna see what happens here. But I can pretty much guarantee it's not going to work out. I'm auto-tuning it right now. But even if I'm able to get this to balance, there is just no room for this thing to tilt backward or to tilt up and down. It's just not realistic. And that's what's frustrating about this setup as it is, because I can't, as much as I want to use this lens combo, it's just not going to work. Now I'm going to do the balance test. I may fast forward through this, we'll see. Yeah, it's actually stuck. It can't complete the balance test properly. It's probably going to tell me that I'm screwed. Anyway, it says balance is needed, but I guess to a certain degree I can do some stuff. Let me see. I mean, it actually kind of works. It's probably overworking the motors for one thing, but all attempt. See, but I can't do this. Yeah, I mean, it's just a lost cause. But I'm gonna take it through it works to a degree, but I'm just very, very limited into as to what I can do. But I can hear the motor shaking right now. So that was the catalyst for me to explore getting the Zhiyun. So yeah, one of the things about the Weebill-S is that it is far easier to balance than the DJI Ronin. It just takes a few, I like the fact that you have two levers here, one for roll and one for tilt. I think the one that's side to side is the roll, and then one for tilt, and that makes for a lot easier control in setting this up, whereas with the Ronin-SC you just have the one lever, and they do that to save space on it, but it is a frustrating aspect of it. And so here you go, you see this, it's a setup that works. I mean, the only thing about this setup is that even with the extra room that's allotted on the Weebill-S, with this setup as it is, I can't go all the way. So I can't go into the underslung mode with this lens. So but I get to have the rest of it like this. I get to have the 2470 on here, which is great. So another great thing, we're gonna jump into what I like. So we're gonna jump into what I like about this, and that is, let's get started. So you turn it on, and just trust me when you have a display. I may take some B-roll of the display here, but what it enables you to do is make all the adjustments directly through the gimbal, and you don't need an app on your phone to do it. You can do it. There's an option to do that via an app that Zhiyun puts out called the XY something or other. The ZY Play app. And you can make those changes much in the same fashion as you would DJI Ronin S or SC with their app. But what's cool about this one is that you can make those changes here by clicking there's two sets of levers. One is sort of the makeshift joystick right here, and the other is a control wheel. You press the bottom of the control wheel, and a menu pops up, and the very first option is motor. You press to the right, you go to auto for auto tune, and you click to the right, and now it's auto tuning it directly from the gimbal. And like I said, you don't need an app, and that's really, really cool. And so we're good. Now another thing that's really awesome about the Zhiyun crane, and this is what makes my decision very, very hard, is with the Nikon Z6, and I think with most major brands, Sony, Panasonic, Canon, I'm pretty sure you can do all this stuff too, but when you're plugged in, you can see that bottom control wheel. What you can do is adjust the aperture, and I don't know if you can see, that's so amazing, it's awesome. And then you click to the right, and you can adjust the shutter. You can make the shutter as high as you want or as low as you're able to, depending on your frame rate. You can't go below your frame rate. One more to the right, and you control your ISO. And I think you can probably see the screen getting darker and brighter as I adjust it up and down. So right now, the right setting for my living room here at night is about ISO 3200. And then one final one to the right, and it's exposure compensation, which, your standard exposure compensation is available. And those things really, really were a selling point for me when I decided to order this one. And so, on the face of it, this is amazing. You have all these settings. Another cool thing, obviously, if you're not already familiar, is that you can take the tripod wheel off, put it here, and if I had a smaller lens, I could put this into underslung mode. But like I said, that's as far as I can go before it hits the back, and I can't go any further. So I'm kind of stuck with this as it is. So, but that's another way you can hold it. Now, what I've detailed for you are all the things I like about the Zhiyun Weebill-S. And that's all these features that you have, especially being able to control your camera settings from the gimbal itself without having to reach up and do this, and maybe especially if you're in the middle of filming and you're trying to make adjustments and the camera's going to have shake to it, you can just do it straight from the gimbal right there, and that's an amazing feature. However, I can't get away from the fact that the Ronin-SC feels better to operate. It's more ergonomic. It feels more premium. The plastic or the materials that it's made of, they're both really plasticky, but the Ronin-SC just has such a premium quality feel to it, and I just enjoy holding it and working with it. And especially, you have your trigger point right here and the joystick. I mean, it's just ergonomic with how you have your thumb when you want to, pan left, right, up, and down. And I just feel like controlling this is a lot more natural than trying to do it with this, especially. I mean, you've got the trigger button right here, but if I wanted to use the joysticks, it gets awkward, and I kind of have to hold it all the way down here. And I'm so used to having worked with DJI products. I've worked the Ronin-S and obviously the Ronin-SC now, that I'm just used to using the joystick as needed, and I have it set, the parameters set to go as fast or as slow, and the deadband and all that. So I feel much more comfortable and natural operating the Ronin-SC than with this. This has several different modes, which I'm still kind of learning. And they're cool, but it's sort of a different way of operating, and I think it really has a lot to do with what you're used to, maybe. So, and if I haven't already mentioned this, the most critical thing about it is I feel like the results I get with the Ronin-SC are superior than the results that I've been getting so far with the Weebill-S. And it could be a technique thing, it could just be user error, I allow for that, but there are certain moments, especially when you're doing these pan and tilt moves with the Zhiyun, with the Weebill-S, that it feels there's a perceptible shift that's very artificial looking that happens before it segues into something much more smooth and natural. I don't get that with the Ronin-SC, and that's an important move to me. And I think that's really where I'm hanging in the balance on this, and why I'm leaning so strongly toward the Ronin-SC right now. And I feel like I'm content just to go with not being able to run this lens on this camera. And like I said, balancing, I'm getting the hang of this balancing with the Ronin-SC. It's not as easy or as fast as the Zhiyun is. Zhiyun, I think it's actually pronounced Zhiyun, but I keep saying Zhiyun. But I'm probably going to stop recording so you don't have to watch me suffer through this. Maybe I got it. Hey. All right, I'll take it. So again, I think when you get used to balancing with the Ronin-SC, it does get easier, it does get faster, you become more efficient at it. But the fact is, it's not as quick as the Weebill-S. Open the Ronin app and auto tune, and obviously it's not a big deal to have to use your phone. I mean, we all carry our phone everywhere we go, so you're going to be fine with it. It's just so much cooler to be able to do it within the gimbal the way you can on the Weebill-S. And then balancing, you got to hold it at a 15-degree angle between, you know, or between a 15-degree angle and a 45-degree angle, and it's going to balance now. And as you can see, there's no problem with it. And this lens is obviously small enough that when you go into the Ronin-SC's version of underslung mode, it's not a problem. It's not gonna, it doesn't come close to hitting the back motor at all. So everything's excellent. So I've gotten that down pretty good. So anyway, now I'm operating it. I mean, just right off the bat, I mean, I just holding this, it just the materials that this is made out of, it feels like it is so much more of a premium product. And I've got it, turn the ISO up, and again, changing the settings is a bit of a hassle, like you just saw me do. But if you do it before you start filming, it's not that really very much of a big deal. But just operating it, and I like to operate with the joystick. Another thing I like to do, I have the controls reversed. Somehow, some way, I just got used to doing it like that. Maybe from playing old video games back in the day, like flight simulators. I think that's where it comes from. Anyway, but just the feel of the Ronin-SC after handling a Weebill-S is night and day as far as the premium quality. And now, like I said, the pans of what I'm doing right now, I guess it's orbiting pan or whatever the name of it is, it just feels much more sure. It feels more, everything just feels more natural. As cool as the features are with the Weebill-S, and they're really compelling features, ultimately I just like the way this feels in the hand better. I like the way the controls are far more. And so that's why I'm a strong lean toward keeping this. It just feels good. I dig it. I mean, I'm trying to think of other ways to articulate where I'm coming from about this. And if you're on the fence about which one to get, all I can tell you is, or one of the things I can tell you is, if you're used to DJI products, you're going to like the SC better. I think that's a huge part of why I'm struggling with the Weebill-S. If you've owned if you've owned Zhiyun products in the past, then you're probably going to be happier with the Weebill-S because you're used to the way those controls are and all those modes that you get into. But for me, having used the Ronin-S extensively, and now the Ronin-SC, I just love the way this feels. I mean, just holding it and controlling it, it feels like so much of a it just feels so much more premium for me, and it feels more comfortable in the hand. It feels more natural. I don't have to think as much. I can just do, and that's important. And like I said, the results that I've gotten are superior to the results I've gotten with the Weebill-S. And again, like I said, it could be user error, it could just be technique, it could be a lack of practice. But that's why I'm where I'm at right now. And it's kind of frustrating because those features on the Weebill-S are awesome, to be able to auto-tune the gimbal right from the gimbal itself, to be able to control aperture, shutter speed, ISO from the gimbal control, from the gimbal handle. It's amazing. It is amazing. But at the end of the day, man, I just gotta say, the shortness, the shortness of touch, or the confidence I feel when I'm operating the Ronin-SC, and the results I'm getting with the Ronin-SC outweighs all of those cool features that the Weebill-S bring to the table. So that's where I'm at. I haven't for sure made a final decision yet. If I had to make a decision right this second, it would be the Ronin-SC. I'm gonna give it another day or two before I make my final decision, and if I make a different decision, if I end up keeping the Weebill-S instead, I'll add to this video. I think I'll add to this video with a short clip either way, when I'm done, or when I make the decision. So anyway, as far as my lens situation, this 10-20 DX lens is fine. I would in fact prefer a 24-70 as sort of a general all-purpose lens for a lot of the stuff that I do. The flexibility to be able to sort of zoom in, and especially to have that depth of field with the 2.8, that would be really, really cool. But what I did at one of my other gigs was I had my D850 that I'm filming with right now slung over my shoulder with the 24-70, and what I would do is set this on the stage. I was filming a concert, set that on the stage, and then I'd come back, aim it at the performer, and leave that there, and then standing over it, I'd take the D850 and had the strap held taut around my neck and held it like that while filming an up close shot of the performer. So that was sort of the way I figured around to be able to have the best of both worlds. A little bit inconvenient, but it worked. I may do that. I may end up getting a Nikon 24-70 f4S, which they could be found used on eBay for about $600, which is a pretty good price, I think. Or I may get a Tamron 15-30 lens 2.8 and use that as my ultra wide and sell this. It really depends. I haven't made a decision yet. I mean, there's some options that I'm looking into. There's other things about the Weebill-S that I would recommend it. You know, buying that wireless transmitter that you plug in via HDMI and using that to transmit an image to your phone, a 1080 30 frames a second image to your phone, and use your phone as the external monitor is really compelling. But on the other hand, that's $179, I think, on B&H Photo, and to get the entry-level Adamus is not that much more expensive. It's about $200 to $300, so only an extra $120 or so to get an Adamus, which would be a superior option as an external monitor than your phone. I haven't made those decisions just yet. Those are just options. So anyway, tell me what you think. Have you operated these gimbals? Have you chose one or the other? Why have you chosen one or the other? If you have any recommendations for me, what you think I should do, especially regarding the Tamron 24-70, as far as balancing that, I attempted to balance it off camera. I think I showed you earlier, and never mind. So has anybody operating a 24-70 for the Nikon, whether it's the Tamron? I think the Tamron is actually a larger lens, even the Nikon's own offering. At least it's thicker and heavier. I think Nikon's own one is a bit longer, which still introduces its own balancing issues and stuff. I know Small Rig makes a counterbalance for their mounting plate that it hangs in the back, and you'd be able to mount counterweights in the back. I may try that, see if that works, so I can use my Tamron 2.8 on here. We'll see. So I think that's about it. Thank you for sticking around. Please leave a comment as far as what you think about or what you do to mount a large lens onto the Ronin-SC. I'm very, very adamant about having a Ronin-SC or the Weebill-S because I want a smaller, lighter gimbal. I've used the Ronin-S before, and while it's an amazing device, it's just too heavy for what I want it. It's just too heavy, and when you're doing long shoots, it does wear on you. And so I really feel like this, I can just like lean over, and I can do this for quite a long time, you know, operating the camera, and I don't worry about like losing my grip or getting tired. And that's what I like about this. It's just so much more compact, so much more lighter. Anyway, thanks for sticking around, and please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.